Hey guys, we are live. Whiskey Wednesday, here we go again. Volume 2. Y'all should know me, metal. Over here, we got our boy ACR, Andrew, with us tonight.
Good evening.
And I told you guys we were gonna have a little adventure this evening and introducing our good buddy Randall from Randall's Little Adventures. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Randall.
Good evening. Boy, I'm having some connection issues all of a sudden.
Yeah, see that? We'll work with it. We'll work with it.
Give it a minute to kind of catch up or a second.
Yeah. Is there anyone in our chat yet?
Lawfully's there.
See, I'm having a hard time getting the chat.
There we go.
I'm an idiot. There we go.
We got
Said Lawfully's in the chat.
We got Demo Man.
Let's
Got
see.
Anthony.
On here.
Anthony made this one. There you go, buddy. Told you not to sweat the last one, Anthony. I knew you'd make it.
There we go. Oh, we got Sassy. Adrian. Yeah. Awesome. I'm clicking all the wrong buttons, folks. What do you know? What do you know? Andrew's pushing buttons.
And Daddy hasn't been drinking yet.
That's right. But we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. Good evening, chat. I see Lawfully,
Yes, so.
Adrian, Sassy, Bobby B. Good evening.
Demo Man.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Anthony and
We got Demo Man in here too.
we got a good group. So, oh yeah,
Whiskey Wednesday, folks.
Whiskey Wednesdays. I am enjoying a little bit of Lead Slingers. Still working on that bottle. Cheers.
I got Nelson Brothers Classic tonight.
What's Randall drinking?
Randall, what
Just
you got?
having a good old fashioned beer.
There you
That
go.
works.
Here's to you, fellas.
Cheers.
Oh, goodness. So, this evening, for our little Whiskey Wednesday little adventure, we brought on Randall from Randall's Little Adventures. Oh, yep, demo Gomo before dark. I get it. I had to do that the other day. We brought Randall on specifically for tonight's topic. And tonight's topic, well, we're gonna check the pulse here, see what people think about it. We are talking get home bags, specifically get home bags. And one of the reasons we brought Randall on here is Randall did an incredible get home bag video not too long ago. It was very well put together, very concise, and had everything that Randall needed. Not everything that Metal needed, or not everything that Andrew needed, everything that Randall needed. So it's can I stick with water? Only you can stick with water if you want to. I'm also drinking water that's been fermented with yeast. So we got that. So we're talking get home bags. Now, just so everyone's on the same page here, there's a couple different types of bags and names that are being thrown out. Get home bag is one. I imagine everyone on here has heard of a bug out bag, as well as an inch bag. So kind of breaking them down. I'm just going to talk a little bit on the other two. The bug out bag would be, hey, I've got a bag, I'm throwing it on, and I'm going to bolt. I'm going to bolt from my home and go somewhere. Then you've got the inch bag, which is an acronym for I'm never coming home. So obviously even more sustainment than a get home bag. Personally, I don't have an inch bag. That's not really my thing. I think bug out bag has a place, especially if you're in an area with hurricanes and stuff like that. Like, and your bug out bag may actually look like totes with valuables and data and stuff like that. But tonight we're talking get home bags, because most of us in the community here that are into preparedness and everything, most of our preps are at our house. And so the mission being, I'm somewhere that's not my house. I'm trying to get back home, which is a different mission for everybody. How far away you are, the region that you're in, Jesus, everything. There's so many different. A perfect example, between the three of us here, with two of us being in Texas, the bags are different. It's a hell of a lot different for Metal, because he's further northeast than we are. He has to deal with more colder weather, mountainous conditions, stuff like that. Randall and I both have to deal with heat. That is a fact. Sadly, I have to deal with the big H, Houston, because I live on one side of Houston and I work on the entirely opposite side of Houston. So my bug out bag looks a lot different than everybody else's. So, what I'd like to do, we made our notes, because that's just what we're doing here. And we already kind of talked on one of the things here. These bags, these get home bags, are very individualized for all the reasons that I've already stated, plus knowledge based and maybe laws in your area might have an impact on what you got in there. But regardless of all that, the bag needs to be mission focused. And that mission is to get home as fast as possible. And there's Amazon. Stella just let me know. So Randall, why don't you tell us a little bit about your bag? We know a lot of us have already seen your video. If you want to just tell us kind of what your focus points were with your bag, and why you went with the certain things that you did.
All right. Well, first, I'd like to say hello. I've been looking at chat over here, and hello to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you coming out. But getting into the bag, and Andrew, you know that my bag has gone through several. You watching my channel over a long time. It's gone over several reiterations, and it's probably going to do so going into the future as well. And so right now, I've got to the point where I've decided my get home bag is to keep me alive, and that is it. It's not to keep me comfortable. If it is not about survival, it does not go in the bag. Because basically, you know, some of us have gotten older, and you might have physical issues. I've gotten some of both of that. I'm not going to carry a 40-pound bag if I have to get home. So, and I've just been raking out the things. Do I actually need this item to survive? Yes or no? No, it's gone. Just like I got rid of my sleep system the last iteration of the bag, because I can really lean up against a tree under a poncho and take a nap. So I've done the test where I actually used my get home bag overnight, and it had a small sleep system, and I was only managed to be able to sleep 4 hours at best. So there's really no point in carrying a sleep system just to sleep for 4 hours. Just take a nap up against a tree somewhere, get back up. Your main goal is get to the house. So if that means taking a break every now and then, have a little nap or just some rest, and go. That's what it's all about to me.
Sorry for that awkward pause. I put myself on mute. You know, they say for every 20 minutes of conversation, there's awkward pause. So you're welcome. I did the first awkward pause for everybody unintentionally.
I knew what you were doing, so I'm like, wait for him to catch up.
That's right. I went
No, I
mute.
really like Randall's no nonsense approach to it. It's just what he needs, nothing more, nothing less. Straight get me home. I love it.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I used to have bug out. You mentioned bug out bags. Me personally, I don't even believe in an inch bag. An inch bag means you're a refugee. I mean, you're never coming back. You're not going anywhere. You're a refugee. A bug out bag is a longer duration bag to get you from here to there. You might have some other items in it, but a get home bag is just a get home, period.
A perfect example of a use for a bug out bag, and I'm going to use Randall just because he's close and he's a friend. If we have an inbound hurricane, now I don't live on the coast. I used to live pretty damn close to the water. We have family down in Galveston and such, but if we're going to get a direct hit in Houston, even as, hey, Scoot, welcome. Even with as far away as I am from the coast, if it's coming in at a category 5, when it hits my house, it's probably still going to be a 4. And, thankfully last year the storm took out all my trees, so that's not a worry. But there might be a time where the family and I might say, hey, Randall, like, I've got this damage in my house. I got to get the hell out of here. Can we roll up there for a few days or something like that? And then we have the supplies and stuff we need to go up there to his place or another location. That makes sense for a bug out bag to have that type of stuff. That's where I think that is used. But again, the get home bag, I've got one. It stays in my truck. And I'd say mine is a little bit heavier than Randall's. Again, I may have to go up to, and I'm always going to go a little heavy on this. I could have to go up to 70 miles, depending on what's going on. If I want to completely bypass Houston, that may be what I have to do. Now, the other thing everyone needs to, do you have your powder handy? We're going to need the powder. All right. So TinMan's pucker powder. All right. So, hey, DJ, the Metalhead Mercenary, thanks for popping in. We are going to stay in our vehicles as long as possible. If I'm at work 50 miles away and something happens, I'm not going to be like, fuck the truck. I just want to start walking. No. No. I am going to go as far as I can. And I'm also, another reason to have maps and know your area of responsibility or area of operations. Have alternate ways of getting home and knowing those routes. Again, if I can go around Houston, it may take me hours to get home, but if I can do all those hours in a car and not hoofing it, yeah, that's why we have this stuff. So my focus on mine again is strictly getting home. That is it, and all things getting home, with the primary focus in mind being water. Having water, the ability to get and or filter water. That is the mission of mine. Now, on top of that, I also have things like extra magazines and stuff like that because I'm in the city and I may have no other option than to go into areas that I may not want to go into, and I want to have extra ammo. But that is the kind of the benefit to a town. If something, everyone's like thinking like the zombies and stuff like that. Like the first couple weeks, the first couple months, like it may not be all that crazy. It's probably going to be kind of ops normal, just minus, you can't use vehicles or there's gridlock or something like that. could be riots. It could be a million things. But there's buildings. Like I may not need to set up a shelter. I may be able to crash in a building if I need to stop. But again, I want to keep it light and I want to keep going. If it's 40 miles, if I have to go 40 miles, which would be the shortest amount, I could do it in a day. It would be all day and I would be miserable, but I could do it in about a day. With maybe a little more than that, maybe closer to like 32 hours with stops and taking those power naps and stuff like that. And your feet will be barking, but that's my main focus was water in my bag. Metal, all you.
Well, my main focus is the fact that I live in the mountains. I deal with cold. I get quite a bit of rain here too. I'm only about 14 miles away where I work. So along that route, that main route, because I have multiples, that main route, I know people along the way. So I may not need to carry quite as much as other people. And I pass streams, I pass ponds, I pass actual like springs and stuff like that on my way home and to work. So I can always refill water and treat it if I'm moving. So I don't have to carry as much water because in 14 miles, I probably have about 10 different stops that I can make to replenish. So I don't have to carry as much water. So that's not as big a concern for me. Mine is temperature regulation and shelter to get me back here to Fort Living Room. Simply put.
Sadly, sometimes it's just that simple, right? It's one of those once you determine what the mission is for you to get home, it's a matter of breaking down how do I make that happen? Worst case scenario. That is
Dang right, DJ.
That's yes, that is a fact. So let's see here. Some of the other things I put in there, as far as factors when you're putting together one of these bags, region, distance, knowledge, all factors. If you were brand new to all this stuff, you're going to carry more. Just like when you go camping, the more knowledge you have for the outdoors, the less stuff you need to take. It's the same with this. One of the other things that people need to think about, and Randall has done this, and he did this on a video, and he talked about it already, is he has walked with his bag, and he's done an overnight with his bag. He wasn't comfortable, but he did it. And I think that's important. It's one of those, we want to throw all this stuff in there, carry the kitchen sink. Okay. A lot of us, there's a lot of veterans in this community, hell, in this chat, on this live, who have carried some pretty heavy packs for a long time. And every one of us will say it sucks when you do it. But knowing what you can and can't do. It's kind of like the same concept of, Old Glory made it in. Awesome. Pepper spray. So I've been pepper sprayed multiple times. No, sorry. It wasn't due to like trying to sexually assault somebody. It was all for training. But I've been exposed to it multiple times. But one of the reasons, I know.
Johnny Depp showed up.
That's right. My alter ego. But I've been exposed to it multiple times, and the same reason we taught that and we expose officers to that stuff is so that because I'll tell you, anytime pepper spray has been deployed, it gets on you every single damn time. And if the first time you're being exposed to it is the first time you're dealing with that and in a fight, it's not a good thing. So if you can do it in a training environment where you're exposed and you're like, it hits your eyes and you're like, and then they go, and then you're trying to fight through it. At least you can do it. The same goes with these bags. Put them on, go walk. I'm not saying put it on and go walk 50 miles. Put it on and go walk 10, 5, 3, something. Build up, get used to it. See where those hot spots are. See if it's too much. See if it's too little. You got to train with it. You got to try it out. And one other thing that I put on here, and I put a little asterisk by it, rope. So like a lot of us carry cordage, right? We carry cordage, to make the shelters and do stuff like that. I have added climbing rope to mine because, and I think Randall will be able to speak on this a little bit too. There are plenty of bayous and creeks and water sources in the area. However, some of them are a climb. And it would be a hell of a lot easier for my fat ass to tie one end to a tree, lower myself down with my stuff, refill my water bladder, refill my grail, whatever I'm doing, and then use that rope to climb back up. So it's a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Some of you may not need that. I know for a fact in my area, I do. That is something I absolutely need. Randall, are there any things that since you've done this, there are other things that you feel like you need to add or take away from your pack at this time? Might need to do it. Can anyone else hear Randall, or is it just me? Yeah, I've got nothing. Can you hear us, Randall?
Yeah, I got nothing either.
Yep, chat saying they don't hear
It
you.
doesn't.
Oh, there we go. We got you.
There he is.
Is it back?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you can hear me again? All right.
Yep.
I was saying that I've cut just about everything. There's really nothing more to cut. If anything, I might add a couple little small items, but I redid my booby kit. And my object now is just to improve on the items maybe that are in the bag, not necessarily to add more. And I watch a lot of through hiker videos, and that's what these people know how to travel. Through hikers are the masters of getting from point A to point B. Way more than the military, way more than bushcrafters. Through hikers travel, and they travel a lot. They're averaging 20 to 25 miles a day over uneven terrain. So I think that's what people need to keep in mind. Pull resources from other parts of the community, except just what we tend to focus on. You kind of got to broaden your horizons a little bit. They're ultralight, so I kind of take some of the things that we need to survive and then try to make them ultralight, if possible.
I would totally agree, Randall. I wrote down notes for this, and one of the things that I put in here is keeping it light because you're going to need speed. If you're trying to get home, you don't want to waste a lot of time trying to get home. So you're going to need speed. And in this element, speed and stealth are going to be your security. Flat out. I mean, if I'm trying to get home, I'm trying to avoid combat. I don't need to load it down having a big old full on level 4 plates and 25 mags and an assault pack in the get home bag and everything. I don't need all that. I need to avoid people and make my way home. So keep it as light as possible so you can make better time.
I agree. Lightweight and and great point, Randall, on the backpacking community. I know, like, you know, people like Grunt Proof have talked about that too. Just, you know, it would be great if we started taking more chapters out of their book, because they know all about being light and going over rough terrain. Not that our soldiers and Marines and stuff, they go over rough terrain too, but it's a different thing. And then of course the hikers, you know, not a lot of them are armed, you know, but some of them are. I think they're crazy not to, but that's just me. But you know, taking chapters out of those books. Same with hunters, folks that are really into hunting. They are pretty efficient, especially if they're going and they're looking to bag an elk up in the mountains. You know, being pretty efficient to be able to get up there, set up camp, do their hunt, and then bring all that stuff back. So, yeah, I think lightweight is good, and just paring down where you can is critical. But you're only gonna be able to do that if you try stuff out. If your skill sets are higher and you're able to do more stuff there. Oh, look at that! Quack Attack made it in. Thank you. Welcome, sir. So some of the I kind of wanted to pull the group here, hazards that you may come across. What you think some of your biggest hazards are for getting home. I know for me, I said the big one is Houston, because Houston's full of people. It's the 4th largest city in the United States, and people are unpredictable. People are challenging. People get scared. And so avoiding them and being able to deal with them, because again, it shouldn't always be about, well, I'm just going to put a bullet in them. Because you put a bullet in one, all of a sudden 75 rifles are pointed at you. That didn't do you any good. But you know, hazards, and one I bring up at one point in time before I moved to where I was, for me to get home, I would have had to, at some way, shape, or form, get across the Houston Ship Channel. That, my folks, is a hazard. Like if all the bridges are out, maybe there's, you know, pipeline explosion or something like that. Like there's no way. So how do I? At that point in time, I had one of the inflatable life vests in my bag, because not that I want to get in the Houston Ship Channel and swim, but if that's the only way, if I can't find a boat or something, well, by God, I'm going to fill up that vest and I'm going to use that in my bag and float across and do the best I can. So what do y'all think? I'll let Randall go first.
Dude, you better be glad you never jumped in the Houston Ship Channel with a floaty. I've been in the Houston Channel in a boat, and the current's ripping at like 40 miles an hour. You would have been in Cuba in about 2 days. So I'm glad you did never have to do that.
You mean to tell me my pink little arm floaties wouldn't have done it?
No, your inflatable flamingo would not have made it, son. But, you know, I worked in LaPorte for years and years, and I lived north of the Houston Ship Channel. And that was absolutely my biggest concern, was that waterway. I mean, because it is literally miles to get around it, you know. So, sorry, I look like a little meth head over here. I'm itchy. I got bugs just, they're trying to move in with me here. But anyway, yeah, there's only really 2 ways across, and they were both bad. So that was always put kind of the fear into me. But, you know, for my my situation is almost not people because I'm so far out of crazy town that the people are not going to react the same way immediately. I think my biggest hurdles are really myself, just because, you know, I'm over 50 years old. Yes, I've had a leg crushed. It's going to be environment and can I make it home? That's the reason why my bag is set up the way that it is. I got to be able to make every mile I can. And that's also the reason why I train with it. What can I do? Because I need to know. Just like I did the 5 mile ruck with my get home bag in the pouring rain cross country. That was challenging. Very challenging. More than I thought it was going to be. I was worn out in just 5 miles. Anyway, that's what I got on that.
What about you, Metal?
Yeah. Well, for me, my biggest pain in the crankshaft is having to deal with the Pennsylvania Turnpike toll road that runs east to west the entire length of the state, or in some places, 6-lane highway. Goes through my town where I drive to work, another road. I go across it 3 times to get to where I work because it doesn't just go straight, it kind of veers back and forth. Well, sad part for me is there's a tunnel maybe about a half mile from where I work where the turnpike goes through. So I have to deal with the PA turnpike with all kinds of traffic on that and people dismounting their vehicles and going on foot towards the next closest town, which would be where I live. No big deal. I know my way around. I'm a mountain goat. Multiple reps, just like DJ said, pace plan. But everything I have is set up like we tried to preface this. If your vehicle, excuse me, if your vehicle is no longer operable or no longer an option, um, I'd say probably a good 99-ish% of the time, you're literally going to be able to drive home some way, shape, or form, even if it's an alternate route. I mean, as long as Mr. Murphy doesn't enter the conversation, I think he should be good to drive. But besides dealing with the people exodusing their vehicles from that and filtering out, heading the same direction I am, I can also use that to my advantage because I know they're not going to get too far off the beaten path because most of them probably don't know their way and they're going to stick to that road. Whereas me, knowing patrol, knowing all that kind of stuff, I know how to have an alternate route that I'm going to be away from them. So dealing with people from the main highway, that would be my biggest concern in a normal hurry up and get home situation.
So what about this? What about we've talked about these being all of us going to work and coming home. What about those times where we're out as a family and the family goes out? Are we, and I'm including myself, I'm including everyone in the chat, if we're going on extended trips, are we packing those bags for when we go on those trips?
Yeah.
I hope so. I know I've done a video like when I go to Colorado. I pack a little bit more when I drive down to Galveston, just because if it's all 4 of us, that's 4 times the food, that's 4 times the water. That's it's further to go down there. But yeah, that's something I think just putting that in the forefront of your mind. It's not always the lone wolf mentality. Sometimes you're not by yourself. A lot of the times when we travel, you're with other people, and so making sure you have those supplies with you. Maybe you just keep stuff in the trunk of your car, or the back of your SUV or minivan or whatever. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a grand idea.
I agree. We just got back from an out of state trip, and I had my get home bag. The wife had her get home bag. Of course, we had a travel trailer full of food stock and things of that nature. But if the STFH would have happened right then, I would have been a permanent resident of Arkansas. I mean, there is no walking back from that for me. It's just like, okay, here we are. Thanks. And then those supplies would have been there to aid us in figuring, to give us time to figure something out.
Yep. No, and that's one reason I brought that up. I know, I know you too well, Randall. I know you, you had all the things with you when you were going.
Yep.
I did too. Like, it's one of those where when I went to Colorado, uh, I had quite a bit of stuff that I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So, and just for the record,
Right.
for the chat, they haven't seen it. I am enjoying Great Divide Hercules Imperial IPA. It is fantastic. You should go get yourself one. Lawfully said they'd keep you, Randall.
I was seeing that.
For me, when I'm going further away from home with the family, I will scale things up or down depending. If we travel, like to my brother's, my one brother's, it's about an hour away. My other brother's about an hour and 15 away. We're doing something like that. My regular EDC stuff, but I'll switch from the pistol I carry to to my 19X. I'd switch over to that. From my subcompact to my full size ish X. Throw a few more mags in for myself and the wife. Um, our middle daughter, if she's going with us, she's carrying extra mags. Chances are her boyfriend's going and he's probably carrying his and extra mags too. But I don't necessarily scale up my bag as much with what I'm carrying because I carry a lot of that stuff in vehicle. My vehicles, every one of them in the stable, they all have their own kits for them specifically. So you have your own personal bag for your own personal use, but there's a general bag in there as well. And to address Anthony, I know he's only 12. And Godspeed to you, Anthony. I don't think you can survive off of energy drinks, my dude. Probably get some kind of weird freaking internal struggle going on. But in your case, Anthony, with being younger, you're going to want to stick to the basics of survival: food, water, some type of covering, and whether it's a jacket, a hoodie, a poncho. Always have a poncho. Some type of cordage, some type of container to carry water, some way to treat water, some way to make fire. A ferro rod and a striker would be great. Um, Depending on where you're at, where you're going, what you're doing, you may not be able to have a knife or anything like that. If you're in school or something, but you can at least try and make some kind of small kit or something. Small little kits. You can do a lot with them. I've done survival kits in an Altoids tin. I have done the video on that. It's one of the first few videos I uploaded to my channel. Check it out. Nobody's going to question a Altoids tin in your pocket, but that's something to help you basically have some type of force multiplier. in helping you get home.
I don't know about that, Metal. Johnny Depth might question that. He'd be like, "Is that an Altoids 10 in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?"
Both.
Both. Both. No, that's.
I also have the Altoids 10 Smalls that I have the repair kit in.
Oh, the
It's
dinghy
the teeny
size.
tiny little Altoids 10.
The dinghy size. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's actually. I'm glad that's a fantastic topic, because I mean, think about all the the place. There's so many places that sadly you can't carry firearms or weapons into. I mean, people still work in these places, and you still got to have stuff. And maybe, like Anthony attends school, but what if you're an administrator or a teacher at that school? You may not be able to take those things with you, but you still can have, water and fire making kits and ponchos and all that other stuff that you named. You can absolutely have that. That's not going to get taken away.
If I couldn't carry a knife or a multi-tool or something like that, you know what I would carry? Something I have carried for 25 plus years with me every day, and I always end up using them for things that they aren't meant to be used for. And that would be a pair of small electrical lineman's pliers. Just saying, I have used those things for more things than what they're intended for. Or a small pair of vice grips, even.
A lot of people don't question tools like that, Yep. Let's see, trying to catch up, make sure I didn't miss anything on the chat here. All right, what else did you have on your notes there, Metal?
Well, I come with the military background, all that kind of stuff, but also survival. The way I see it, I kind of approach a get home bag probably very similar to the way Andrew from Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft would. Cutting tool or multi-tool, a lockpick set, because you don't know if you're going to have to get in somewhere or out of somewhere. Cordage. Always have some type of cordage with you, like you said about the rope. Some people might be able to get away with 550 cord. Some type of combustion device, something to allow you to start a fire, whether it's a ferro rod, a bic with duct tape around it. I always recommend the bic with duct tape because you can still flick your bic into some type of fire tinder to get it going. Some type of container to carry liquid in, to carry water, whatever, to drop tablets in to treat it, some way to treat that water. Calories. Notice all these things are C. Calories, something to fuel you. Cardinal direction, some way to tell what direction you are going. And might be a good idea to throw a map in there too. Especially if it's a get home from work kind of thing and you kind of get turned around. You slip and fall and bump your head and you're like, which way am I going? At least you have a map. Cover, whether it's clothing, it's a poncho, mylar blankets, something like that, to give yourself cover, to protect yourself from the elements, or some form of shelter in that aspect to shelter your body. Combat, something to protect yourself in some form. And care, aka medical care. So carrying some type of boo-boo kit with a basic blowout kit would be what I would include in this get home bag setup. And that's what I do include in mine. It checks all your boxes, takes care of everything you're possibly going to run into, but you're not having to carry everything in the cappuccino machine and refrigerator and the egg beaters or whatever. I don't know. You're not going to have to carry everything else with you. That's going to get you through. That's my vision on it. Yeah. Realistically scale things to what you truly need.
Exactly. I had to take myself off mute there. Um, so I guess one of my last questions are really to everybody watching this, the people in the chat, and and everybody watching this on the replay crew or whatever. One, do you have a bag already? Two, uh, if you have a bag, have you started training in it? Have you thought about putting it on and going a few miles with it, seeing how it feels, finding out if you're gonna switch out bags or if it's too light or too heavy? Um, Three, have you started thinking about the hazards in your area? And hazards being everything from people, animal, to weather, to cities, to all that stuff. Um, it's just to get your brain moving and and thinking about that. And I like the fact that we brought up stuff like people like kids that may not be carrying firearms and hell may not be able to carry a knife depending on where they go. And same with adults that work at, if you work in a city or government building, you can't have any of that. Now, hopefully you might be able to keep some of that in your car, but then it comes into the fact of there's crime everywhere. And if you've got two-way stuff and I love guns and all this other stuff on your vehicle, someone's probably busted into your car and taken all your shit. So, things like that, things to be mindful of there. Um, these Whiskey Wednesdays, they're supposed to be fun and thought provoking, challenging in some ways. I was really trying to get a good 5 to 8 mile walk in before this call because I haven't done one with that particular bag in at least a month. I think I did it once with the when I was doing that 31 and 31, but I wanted to do it just so I could, well, mainly so I could bitch and complain and try to get some sympathy from y'all. But but that that didn't happen. I didn't get a chance to do it. So maybe this weekend. So so Quack, I'm glad you brought that up. That's if you have a vehicle, use your vehicle. That's I will use my vehicle until I can't anymore. Like I will use it to push shit out of my way before I start just leaving it to go, because it's the vehicle's protection, mobility, it's so many things. So I'm hoping all of you are thinking about this and take a minute to revisit your bag. I know both Metal and Randall and myself do this. Go through your bag and check it. Maybe it's monthly, quarterly, semi-annually. God, please be at least yearly, and go through and make sure your batteries work. If you leave batteries and stuff, if you have food in there and the food stays in your bag and in your car, and it's 150 fucking degrees in your car all summer long in Texas, it's probably not any good.
Your trail mix ain't trail mix anymore, homie.
That's right. It's mix. It's mixed. That's about it. Same with water. I think a lot of us carry cases of water. I mean, you can go to the store right now, as long as it's not hurricane coming. You can go buy a case of water for maybe $4. And it's easy to keep in your car. Now, come summertime, it's as simple as every month, I'm going to pull that water that's sitting in the back of my truck out, and I'll probably put it in my fridge in the house and use it then, and then I'll go buy another one and change them out. So just some things to think about. Same if you're in the colder environments and that shit is freezing all the time. Like it's just as hard on your stuff. The cold, if you're using filters and your filters have water in them and they freeze, they don't work as well anymore. You got to think about that. So
yep, absolutely. I put a note in here we were talking about food there. You want to have, if you're doing a bag, to get home, you want to have simple, no cook calories that you're carrying with you. Stuff that you don't have to stop and heat up an MRE or do this or any of that. Stuff that you can be mowing down on while you're hoofing it. Your H2O filtration. You need to have something that you can fill up your bag or your bottle or whatever and keep trucking. Keep it simple with that stuff. Don't want to have to be making a fire unless it's to warm yourself, to dry out clothes, something like that.
Agreed. I think a lot of people.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead, Randall. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just agreeing. I mean, you're in this type of situation, you're not going to be sitting around building a campfire unless it's to keep you alive. I mean, you don't want to have to stop and cook food or in this kind of thing. I mean, something ready to eat, something ready to drink. I mean, I have coffee in mine. If I am taking a rest, I have my little tiny S-bit stove. I could actually make a hot coffee if it's cold outside and kind of help warm myself up. This summertime, I can just throw the instant coffee right in some water, shoot it, keep rolling.
Exactly. That we shouldn't, even things like mountain houses, because a lot of people like those because they're so lightweight, but they one require water, and two, you could put cold water in there and let it sit for like 25 minutes and eat it. It's just not going to be very good. I'm going to tell you that right now. You'd probably rather not eat anything. But
that's a thing these days. In the backpacking community, they call it cold soaking. That's exactly what they're doing. No, thank you.
Right. I'd rather be fast. I'd rather have, again, like an MRE style stuff, and it doesn't have to go be an expensive MRE. You can DIY an MRE, and I I don't have any videos on that. Yeah, Metal does. Hell, we all probably do. I should probably do a video on that, because and the other part about that is pack stuff that you like. Like if you don't like vegetarian MREs, don't pack that. Don't do that. And definitely don't eat that MRE shit that I had when Randall and I went to Fort Boggy. That I don't know how old or expired it was, but it was, how we say over here in Texas, no bueno. It was no good.
I felt sorry for you. Mine was just bad. I was good with that.
Something I want to add in here with this get home bag. You're somewhere and you need to get to your home. The ACR's trip isn't going to be the same as mine, the same as Randall's, the same as any of yours. Some might be a day or two. Who knows? So if you have your medical kit there for your boo-boos and your basic blowout trauma kit, include medications with it. Tylenols, ibuprofens, Benadryls, Modium AD, put some type of electrolyte powders with it, and also don't forget any health-sustaining medications that you normally would take, like diabetes, blood pressure, whatever. Make sure you have that kind of stuff with you in that bag. But check all of those things that are perishable, your foods, your medications, everything, on a regular basis to make sure they are good. Because you don't want to be having to get home and you don't have one of those life-sustaining meds on you or anything else, because it'd suck to have a massive migraine or be vomiting or something like that, or have a case of the backdoor trots when you're trying to get home. So, food for thought.
Exactly. Well, so that takes care of most of my notes. Randall, you were the guest of the hour here. Any closing thoughts? tips, tricks, uh, anything to add?
Yeah, I do. And I've ran across a bunch of this in my comments, my different videos. Oh my God, you've got a piece of crap flashlight. That was one. First off, I carry a flashlight as part of my everyday carry. That means if I actually go get my truck, it's on my person already anyway. I can get away with just having a backup POS flashlight. I change the batteries in it every year, make sure the batteries are hot. So you don't want a bunch of duplicates in your bag. I also had this other one. That was my favorite one. He was telling me all the different types of saws. He had the rope saw. He had little folding saws. And dude, you're gonna die if you carry five saws and 13 ways to make fire and 4 different shelters. You're not gonna make it. It's just too much. There's a couple of things I do like backup. One is fire. Two is water purification. Everything else, if it breaks, you rely on skill. Skill your way out of it. And the only way you can skill your way out of it is train. And that's it.
What what do y'all think is a good cadence for one, um, reviewing your gear, doing a check, and two, um, testing it out? What like what personally? And it's not like a trick question or anything. Like what do y'all do? What do y'all think people should do? What do you suggest? Not everyone at once.
I'm deferring to Randall. I'll let him go.
But what what do you think you should do? Well, I mean, as far as I'm kind of thinking that most of the people here in the chat have something of some sort of get home bag. But if there was a new person out there that was just getting into this, I'd kind of go with the big three: water, food, and actually, even though I don't carry it, maybe some type of shelter. If they want to get started, and they need to use those items until they're comfortable with them, and walk with your bag. That's the biggest thing, is actually putting on the bag and actually using the things in the bag. Because if you just put a bunch of stuff in a bag and you don't ever use it, you're going to be in a bind. Be proficient with every single item. If you're not proficient with one of the items in your bag, you really probably don't even need that item, because it's not going to do you any good. I go pretty hardcore on get home bags. I mean, I cut there's no fat.
Metal, what about you, sir?
Before I get into that, I want to address something Lawfully said in the comments here a little bit ago. I said about cover and shelter, Mylar bag. He said about hot hands. Anybody who knows me, I have a fetish for hot hands and Mylar blankets because they actually saved my ass one time. So everywhere I have a Mylar blanket, I have hot hands with them, because if you're in a situation where you need to warm up, you throw that thing around, crack the hot hands, help reflect that extra heat back into you. Beautiful combo. I've used it many times for myself and others throughout history. So thanks for reminding me of that, Lawfully. I think beyond the get home bag, I think that understanding fieldcraft, not bushcraft, but fieldcraft, understanding patrol, understanding navigation, those things are very important in travel, period. Whether you're driving to somewhere you've never driven before and you're solely basing everything you know of what way you're going on a map or on one of these, have a map, but know how to navigate with that map. Know how to stay away from people when you need to stay away from people. Know how to find people when you need to find people in a rescue situation. That's pretty important. So that's something to study up outside the get home bag itself. Totally agree with Randall with the keep it simple. DJ said it too, keeping it simple. Um, this thing is basically to plus up your EDC. And if you don't have skills using something, don't take it because it's probably not going to serve you well and you're going to fail with it. And for every failure, that takes down your morale and you're going to be trucking along a little bit slower. And the next
Yep.
thing you know, you're clumping along like Eeyore versus running like Speedy Gonzalez. Keep your bag simple. Keep it organized and light. Um, you're not really going to need a ruck. Maybe if you live days away from where you're working or something, but most people aren't going to need something that big. It's just to get you home, not to reestablish life in the wilderness as Grizzly Adams. So keep it as simple as possible. I think going through your bag is important to see what's in there, reorganize, maybe this flashlight's kind of getting janky or this multi-tool, I'm not really feeling it. Maybe I want to EDC that multi-tool instead and put this one in there to at least visit it at least a few times a year. One thing you can do is inside your desk drawer or inside your dresser drawer or something like that, have a little 3x5 index card that you write down your perishable dates for when everything expires. So you can just check your card whenever to see when that stuff expires. So you have to dig through your bag. Oh, hey, I'll check the card. All my born on dates are here, so I'm good. Oh, nope, the chicken and rice, that's got to go. I got to put a new one in. So you know what's what with that. Besides getting into the bag, because sometimes we don't want to pull the bag out all the time. So it gives you another option to check that kind of stuff, especially with like the medications. How often should you be trying to use this bag? I'd say at least once a season.
Yeah.
If you spring and summer, they kind of like at that verge where spring and summer they kind of meet and they start making out, getting ready to have a baby called full on summer. That's probably a good time to do that. Fall into winter, probably a good time when they start doing their whole thing and getting ready to bring in the pound you in the butt winter. That'd probably be a good time to check the winter aspect of things. My winters are far different than your winters.
Yep.
We had snow flying here last week. Today we were 76, bright and sunny. That's why I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. You know? So testing it out in different seasons, I think that is probably pound for pound going to be one of your biggest assets because you know how everything's going to react, how you're going to react. When you're cold, you're going to be shivering. So you may not be able to use a ferro rod and a striker to make a fire.
Yep.
You may just need that Bic. You may need extra layers, which brings me to something else I want to throw out, and then I'm going to shut up. We have another type of bag we use. I've talked about it in the podcast. We call it the moron bag. It's a funny name, right? The moron bag. What is the moron bag? Well, the girls have them in the back of their cars. Wife has one. I have one. It's a bag so if you're out and about and you get cold, you can put more on. If you get wet, you can put more on. So we call it the moron bag because you can put more on from this bag.
Yep.
Another wardrobe for the season. And it's funny to call it the moron bag so it resonates in the mind. That's all I got to say about that, Jen.
So one of the terms, and so this was a Coast Guard term, so I don't know if the real military knows about it. We always called them PMS, preventative maintenance systems. And a lot of it, and it was on everything from, like, if you were a mechanic or a weapons specialist or whatever. Um, I still do that. Like, every month I go clean my guns, not because I shot them or anything, just knock the dust off, oil them up, do all that. Getting into your bags again, it should be a preventative maintenance system. Getting in there, whatever you dictate. I kind of like the season change. I think if you go based on seasons, that's 4 times a year. That's quarterly. I think that's pretty good. That's and the more you do it, the more familiar you'll be with the stuff in your bag. So you get out there and you check the bag before you go, throw it on, and go for that walk, whatever that walk looks like. I like the moron bag concept too. In this house, they'd probably call it the Andrew bag because Andrew's a moron. That was funny. That was good stuff right there. But I think just getting started. If you haven't gotten started, you should get started. You should have a get home bag. And it might not be for the zombies, for all of you waiting for zombies and shit. It might be, it could be riots or some other disorder or natural disasters or something. Have that. It's one of those, any opportunity I can work from home, I do, but sometimes I just got to go out. I've got to go see clients. I got to go do this stuff. It's either that or not have a job. And right now I'm not independently wealthy, so I'm going to go out and do it. And I actually feel, but it's kind of like having insurance, right? You feel better because you have it. And this, at least there aren't any major premiums with a bug out bag. There's a bunch of upfront costs, but you've got it, and it makes you feel a little bit better. At least for me, it's that little bit of stuff, like, you can't sit there and dwell on it. But if you know that you've got the stuff, if something goes down, you're prepared, you're ready, you've trained with it, you're used to it, all your shit's together, and it's not something from 1985. You're good to go. Well, Randall's shit might be from 1985, but
or earlier.
And then lastly, circling back onto Metal's topic on hot hands. Some people say that Johnny Depp had some hot hands as well. So just throwing that out. That's all I got. This has been a great, we're coming up on an hour and 10 minutes. Right on time here for everybody. I think this was a fantastic topic, and I want to throw out a thank you to both Metal and Randall. Metal for putting together the studio and setting all this up, and Randall for being an exceptional guest. Tons of knowledge with Randall. If you're not already subscribed to both Randall's Little Adventures and TinMan-Metal's channels, you need to.
And ACR Protect.
And you can hop on mine. You can come on mine for idiocy. Come give me hell about my vest. I haven't caught enough shit about that lately. That's.
I like the vest. Okay, I am pro vest.
So
we are pro vest in this house.
I'm gonna get on a little sidebar, little tirade here. Everyone's gonna need this powder. If you watch my video about walking,
get your butt cheeks tight. Get them tight today.
I wear that. So, and I've told Randall about this. I remember when I met Randall for the first time, we were camping. He's like, this motherfucker lives in this vest. He wears it all the time. I do, because it's always hot here, right? So typically I'm wearing like one of these microfiber shirts, and rather than throwing like another shirt over it, I just throw on the vest. And it's a fishing vest, and it's one of those, yes, guess what? If you are in the know and you're a gun guy, you're already looking to see you've already assumed just by looking at me that I got a gun. Just by the way, because there's a couple other people look at me, they already think I'm racist. There's a lie. They already think all this other shit. So the fact that it's just like a bag that has Molly on it. Oh, they have a Molly bag. There must be special operations, or maybe they like the bag. I don't know. It could be one or the other. But it's I've had more people just say, "Oh, I spot you from a mile away because of the vest. I can tell you're concealed carrying." No, you spotted me from a mile away because I'm fat. That's why you spotted me from a mile away, not because of the vest. Come on. So just so you know, I'm going to continue wearing the vest because it's hot in Texas and it's comfortable. And yes, I'm going to need some of that special pucker powder to hand out to folks. But no, seriously, with everybody on here, we have a fantastic community of people and a wealth of knowledge from everything. And I know we talked about bags tonight, but we've got knowledge from everything from firearms to bags to gardening to chickens to being in the swamp to being on the high seas to being over in the sandbox,
the desert, the mountains.
Yeah, there's a ton of knowledge in here, and so I appreciate everyone on the panel and in the chat and that watches this. Your knowledge is worth something. It really is, and it pleases me when people put stuff out there and it gets me thinking. That's why I go on here. That's why it's entertainment, but it's also one of those things like I learned something. I get something from almost every video I watch, except for mine. Except for mine. I'm like, I usually just get drunk, but
those are for us, buddy.
That's right. Yeah. But this has been a wonderful evening. I think volume 2 of Whiskey Wednesdays has been awesome. And again, special thank you to Randall for joining us. Sure. and hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
And drinking a beer, having some whiskey, and hanging out in the chat. Gents,
I want to address a couple little things here real quick before we go. First off, I want to say thank you to Randall for hanging with me on Monday. It was my birthday. And he sat with me and we worked through stuff to get him up and going so he could do this. And I appreciate his patience. So thank you, Randall.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. I want to thank everybody in the chat for showing up and doing the things with them digits and tuning into this. And I also want to address the other elephant in the room with me. I went to a beard sale the other day and got mine 75% off. So yeah, I took about 4 inches off the beard. So I look a little different. No more rubbing my microphone down here.
It looks good though.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It took a decent amount of time to get it nice, so I didn't look like a hobo with a switchblade.
Johnny Depp likes it when the women are 100% off.
I bet.
That's.
But I did want to open things up to the chat for real quick. Do you guys have any questions about anything that the three of us fellows could answer? And DJ, I did get your email that time. So I will get back to you.
Hey, Demo, I just want to say, I'm sorry we don't have anyone for your wife to call out for being a dork this week. We're going to need to catch up next time. Because we had a pretty cool crew here tonight.
But yeah, and we were kind of talking, we'd like to put her on retainer to call people dorks for us. So if you could hook that up, that'd be great, man. That'd be great. It'd be fantastic. It'd be the best possibly ever.
That's a pretty good impression.
And to let you guys know, I will be, well, thank you. You get a lot of practice on the podcast.
China.
But no, I will be firing up China.
He's way
It's
better.
huge. It's just huge. Talking about John E. Depp, he's huge. But I will be starting season 3 of the Tin Man TNA podcast on Spotify here next week. So get ready for Chupacabra bath bombs. I don't know either.
Chupacabra, now you're talking my language. We got them there damn things down here eating them goats and shit. It's terrible.
And run around making loads about chickens. Speaking of chickens, my daughter started incubating some chicken eggs here the other day.
Oh,
Really?
awesome.
I like chickens, Eddie.
The police just came in. I don't know if y'all heard that. Stella just kicked in the damn door. She's looking at me like, the fuck are you doing in here? Stella, what are you doing? You gonna come say hi? No. She's not.
Okay, so Demo Man's wife's good with calling people dorks for us.
Oh, awesome.
Lawfully, TNA does not stand for tits and ass. It stands for tactical and apparel, man. Get your mind out of the gutter, bro.
He's thinking about Johnny Depth.
T and A. Tactical and apparel.
Oh my goodness. This has been a wonderful evening. Again, thank you. Thank you, Metal. Thank you, Randall. Thank you, chat. Let's see if I'm going to try to thank everyone individually here. We got DJ the Metalhead Mercenary, Demo Man, Grace, Lawfully, Scoot, Team Quack Attack. I know Glory was in here. Old Glory was in here earlier. If you're hiding, Bobby B. Twin Arrows was in here. Yes.
Bobby B.
Let's see. Anthony was in here.
Anthony, the Junior Minuteman.
That's right. We got, let's see, scrolling up to the top. Sort of. We got a lot of chat in here. This is awesome. There's somebody there. Oh, Shell was in here. She's awesome. Sassy, yes, thank you. Sassy, thank you for joining us. I know sometimes these go long and people just pop in for a little bit and then have to roll out. I completely understand. It is all good. Pilgrim was in here. Thank you, Pilgrim, for stopping by and hanging with us. And I think that captures everybody. If I didn't call your name, it's because you didn't put anything in the chat. And if you didn't put anything in the chat, you're a bad American.
And for the replay crew, once this posts to my channel, I will share it to both of these gentlemen so they can post it to their channels.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, sir. How many of the people saw the short I did last night trying to promote this a little bit? Hopefully you did. I don't know if we got any more folks in here. I also know it's kind of it's an interesting day. I'm glad we do it on Wednesday just because I know so many other folks have lives that they do, and I didn't want to compete, not because for anything malicious or anything. It's just we all support each other, and I wanted to do it on a day that's a little more free, so that more people can attend and join us and not have to pick and choose. So, yeah.
What Grit and Grace said, if you're on Replay Crew, throw a comment in there saying Replay Crew. Grit and Grace did it. It's awesome. It helps us to see who's getting to actually see the content. And make sure you give it one of these.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful Wednesday. I'm out of whiskey, but I got a sip of beer left.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers to the guys here on the panel
Here's to
and to the
Whisky Wednesday Volume 2.
and to the chat. Bottoms up.
Skull. Ow. It was a little stronger horsepower than what I was thinking it was.
Well, gang,
Yeah.
again, thank you. This has been a wonderful night. My best to you all. Metal, are you back on for your live on Sunday?
Yes, I will be back. Normal, same bat time, same bat channel. Noon on Eastern Standard Time on Sunday.
Randall, do you have a premiere going for Saturday as normal?
I do have one that's going to fire up Saturday. It's over our trip over to Dangerfield State Park. I just out and about, taking a look at some of the sites and hitting some of the trails and checking the park out. It's a really beautiful park. So if you want to see that, that'll be coming out Saturday evening at 7:00 Central Time.
Outstanding. So I know I've been doing a Friday night live. And I'd like to say, yes, it's still going on. However, there I do have some personal matters that may supersede that. I'll try to throw something out. I'd like to keep it going, but if not, I hope everyone has a cocktail for me on Friday. But I'll let everyone know. And I do have some other videos coming out this weekend, so be on the lookout for those. But I'm enjoying this. I think Wednesdays work well. And again, be sure to catch Randall on Saturday and Metal on Sunday. And folks, that's all I got.
That's all I got. That's all you got, Randall?
That's all I've got. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. So, guys, until next time, battle out.